This is a story I've shared on different subreddits in the past, but I thought this would be the perfect place to tell it once more. It's about my uncle and the things that tormented him in a way none of us could ever forget. For some background info, I live in the eastern part of Kentucky, in a decently sized town nestled right in the middle of the mountains, and there are lots of ghost stories and local legends, but some like mine have gone unheard for the most part. My paternal side of the family lives in a very rural backroad area, miles away from town, and I always say think of the horror film Wrong Turn. That's basically what it is, lots of old cabins and trailers scattered around with even some abandoned buildings. My father was one of three brothers. He's the last one standing after his older brother died of a massive heart attack 2 years ago. And the other one whose story I'm telling died of cancer in 2017. The third one had been distant from the family and lived in a larger city in the county over, but sometime in 2016, he decided to move back to our area with his new wife and young daughter after he was diagnosed with an aggressive form of cancer. I remember one evening he called my dad and said he found a place to live not too far away from the rest of the family, and he wanted us to come see him. He didn't have much furniture, so we loaded up some things and set out for his new home. We drove for at least an hour and a half until we finally found the place. It was an old cabin with a tin roof sitting on top of a huge hill. And the road leading up was steep and treacherous, with deep drops on both sides, so we had to drive slow. When we got to the top, I saw the cabin sat right in the middle of the woods, with a large rock cliff behind it and dense forests surrounding everything. The whole place felt eerily heavy in a way that stayed in your chest. I got out and walked around the driveway, which looped in a circle, and right in the middle of it there was an old, unkempt garden with dead bushes and overgrown weeds. But the thing that stood out immediately was a flat grave marker. It belonged to a stillborn infant who had died during childbirth in the 80s or 90s, and it had the family name engraved on it. But what confused me was why they left it there, instead of taking it along or burying it in a cemetery nearby. I asked my uncle about it, and he said it came with the property and that the family just left it when they moved out. Apparently someone else lived there before him, but they had left in a hurry. There were bed frames left behind, and clothes piled in rooms and toys stuffed in a child's closet. In the backyard there was a giant black scorch mark in a perfect circle, as if something had been burned there. The whole place felt uneasy, and it was obvious something bad had scared off the previous owners and made them run without taking anything. My dad and uncle talked for a while in the kitchen about what needed to be done with the house, and since they didn't have money for furniture, they all slept in the living room together in the same bed until they could afford more. Over the next couple of weeks, work started on the cabin by my dad and other family members. But things started getting weird fast, and my uncle told my dad that while sleeping in the living room they heard footsteps and doors shutting by themselves almost every night. Then his wife and daughter both saw a man and a little boy in overalls and a straw hat. First, his wife said she saw a little boy run past the kitchen window, and when she went outside, no one was there. Then his daughter said she had been playing with a boy in the yard. Things escalated quickly and seemed drawn to my uncle, and at the same time his cancer got worse to the point he had to be hospitalized multiple times. At one point, he took my aunt and cousins into the back bedroom because he said they were going to get him, and he had to protect them. He was taken to the hospital after that, and things in the cabin kept getting worse until they had no choice but to leave and move in with my aunt. He later died on hospice care, and the house was cleansed by our family minister. To remove whatever demonic presence was there, the cabin burned down a year or two later. I don't even know where to start, but for the past 2 months, I've been living in an old countryside house I rented for a short time. It's surrounded by olive groves, and inside there's this ancient tube TV. It looks older than the house itself. The landlord told me not to touch it, it's part of the house, he joked, but it never felt like a joke. The first time it turned on was exactly 1 a.m., and there was no power that night. The screen lit up by itself, and it showed what looked like the yard, almost like there was a camera outside, but I never found one. The next nights got even stranger. The channel kept changing, and every evening it showed a different part of the olive groves. Among the trees, something moved. A tall, thin figure, almost naked and wearing a mask made from an animal's head. A different mask every night, and every night it looked closer. I told people online, and someone mentioned the name Korakami channel. They said it's been on Japanese forums for years. Always connected to old, isolated houses, and always turning on at exactly 1 a.m. I tried filming it, but my phone only showed a black screen, and a few nights ago the figure was standing right in front of my window. The TV changed one last time. It showed the inside of my house, and the door behind me like there was a camera placed there. The man didn't move, he was holding something in his hands, but the screen was too dark to see clearly. Only after a few seconds I realized it looked like my own face. I unplugged the TV and threw it away, but every night at 1 a.m. I still see that pale glow in the window, and I haven't slept properly since. Hi. I hope I'm not making myself look ridiculous, but it doesn't hurt to ask. I enjoy visiting London as a tourist and often travel by underground. During one of my visits, I had to change trains at Liverpool Street Station, and to cut a long story short, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. It was really overwhelming, like background noise, as if many people had died there a long time ago. Not directly there, but it felt like there were many people present who didn't know each other, and all because of less than pleasant circumstances. It was more like an echo. I would be more interested to know if there are any stories about a male ghost there. It was right on the platform, but as I had to get on the train, I didn't stay long. I couldn't get it out of my head, and maybe someone knows something. Male, slightly older, and apparently proactive. If not, I'll just put it down to my imagination, but since it came so unexpectedly, it would be exciting to know if there are any stories about this station.